Hey scrapbookers, it's Vanessa here with another process video, and this layout will be using my April stash kit. And if you're wanting to see a closer look at the things that I pulled for that kit, you can always check out my April stash kit video. So the first thing that I'm going to do here is, these are the two background pieces of pattern paper that I chose. And for this layout, I decided that I wasn't going to do a mat all the way around the outside. I decided I was going to take this really busy striped pattern paper and I was going to put it on an angle, or put my orange piece of paper that has the distress or the watercolor background on an angle and put that striped piece of paper behind it. So that's what I'm going to do here. But first I am inking the edges with spiced marmalade, and then the other distress oxide colors there that I showed were cracked pistachio and blueprint sketch, and I'll be using those throughout the layout for different bits and pieces of just putting some ink around the edges and some coloring some mixed media pieces. So I'm just going to glue down two sides of this orange paper. I didn't put glue all the way around because once I cut off the edges here, I will be gutting out some of that striped paper so that I can use it for matting on my photo and for having the option to use it again on another layout somewhere in this month with my kit. So I'm just going to trim that off. And once I do that, I decide that to add some additional texture, I am going to, in a second here, grab my stitching mat and some floss in the same green, tealy green color that's in that pattern paper. And there you see I'm just showing you, I'm going to gut out that inside of that paper. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to put some holes all around the edge here at this side, this left side, and then at the top. I'm just going to go ahead and put all my stitch lines in. I don't show you all of that, and I don't show you me stitching everything. It's pretty straightforward. I'm just doing a back stitch and adding a little bit of texture to this layout with that floss on both that side and the top. And then the next thing that I do is I just take my photo and I'm going to just mat it on this blue, more like a royal blue piece of pattern paper, as well as a piece of that striped paper. And while I'm doing that, I will tell you a little bit about this photo that you saw there a second ago, and it is of my son and my dad, and we are actually sitting at the Rose and Crown restaurant in Epcot, which is one of our favorite restaurants in Epcot. And we are sitting there waiting for our dinner. And it's hard to see in the photos, but you'll see them in the still photos at the end. My son is making funny faces, and he is such a little ham. My last layout that I used this kit was talking about how he can be a monster sometimes, but the other side of his personality is he is a little ham. He is always the entertainment, and this dinner I happened to grab a picture of him and he was just making silly faces and making us all laugh, and he's just the cutest thing. So that is what I'm documenting with this one. My journaling it'll be on one of those tags in behind. It won't actually be written on the layout. And so I'm just going to lay everything out here so that you can get an idea of where everything will ultimately get glued down. I won't make you watch the glue down process, but this is where everything gets laid out. And if you see, as I'm laying this out, I'll tell you that blue tag that is in behind, that is actually a tag off of a piece of clothing. I happen to be taking some tags off some shirts and realized that that blue color was the exact same blue color as what was in my kit this month. So just a tip, don't forget when your everyday items that you are going to throw away or things that you find that have nothing to do with scrapbooking, if they happen to match something that you're working on, make sure you grab it and put it in your scrapbook pages, because that's exactly what I did, and it was the perfect addition of a little bit of blue. So just thought I'd throw that in. And while I was talking, I grabbed that border, those circle borders that I knew I was going to put on the page, and I felt like the white was too stark. So I just took some chip pistachio Distress Oxide ink, and I just inked up that little border so that now it added a little bit of extra color. I wanted this layout to be colorful because that's kind of his personality, and he's being goofy and he's funny. And so I felt like I wanted to make sure that it came across as colorful and playful and fun. And so that was what I was going for. So the other thing that I'm doing here is taking one of those Vicky Boutin mixed media sticker sheets, and I'm just going to use one of these little circles, and I think this one says fun, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm just coloring it up with a couple of the Distress Oxide colors in the Chip Sapphire, or not the Chip Sapphire, the Blueprint Sketch and the Cracked Pistachio. And so that just, again, just adds a little bit of color so that it's not completely white. After I've done that, I did go ahead and make sure everything got glued down. And then now I'm just going to do the finishing touches for this layout. This layout really, once I had the design in my head of how I wanted it to look and I added the stitching, that really is what took the longest. Everything else really came together pretty fast. So I was able to just glue everything down, and then I just kind of was able to fuss around with where I wanted these last finishing touches. So that little sticker went right down there beside the together word, and then that freckled fawn foam word actually says giggles if you can't quite make it out, and it goes down there underneath the together. And at first I thought that I was going to use this black and white twine. I do end up in the pictures at the end, you'll see that it does change to a green. I felt like the black was too stark. And then to finish sort of each of my little kind of clusters here, I did go ahead and pull out some dark blue sequins, and it takes me forever. I go around in circles where I want to place these little sequins. I don't know why it was so hard to decide, but ultimately I end up putting them in tight clusters of 3 in each of the different clusters, the one at the bottom, the one there at the top with the tags, and then the one on the top left. So to finish it off, I just go ahead and add my date, and I messed up and it didn't stamp correctly the first time, and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do. But when I find that it doesn't stamp right, I just do it a couple of times and it looks like it was purposely done that way. So that completes this layout, and here are the still photos. So if you want to see what else I create with my April kit, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.